We often treat wealth as a finite resource, a daily tug of war, where securing a dollar means taking it from someone else's pocket. Wallace D. Wattles was born into a world defined by that exact mindset in 1860s Illinois. Long before he became an authority on success, he spent his youth bound to the soil as a farm laborer. His early life was characterized by deep poverty and physical exhaustion. He traded his body for meager wages, performing back-breaking agricultural work just to keep his family fed. Yet the math never seemed to work out. Despite working from sunrise to sunset and pushing himself to his physical limits, financial stability remained entirely out of reach. Laboring without an underlying strategy simply guaranteed a lifetime of fatigue. Realizing that sheer physical effort was an endless loop, he began searching for the mechanical link between daily action and actual prosperity. He traded physical exhaustion for intellectual immersion. In the late 19th century, he discovered the emerging New Thought movement, a philosophy arguing that mental attitudes actively dictate life circumstances. He studied the works of writers like Ralph Waldo Emerson, analyzing arguments that the mind acted as a deliberate tool capable of shaping physical reality rather than a passive observer. The concepts of Emerson, along with philosophers like G.W.F. Hegel, dismantled his long-held belief that wealth was strictly a matter of sweat and luck. If the mind possessed this power, how could a person translate that spiritual belief into the practical labor of planting crops or sweeping floors? The answer required abandoning the idea of simply working harder. Instead, he sought to restructure the internal logic behind his physical effort. In his 1910 book, The Science of Getting Rich, he laid out a singular, foundational premise. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made. This demanded a complete departure from the competitive mindset. Instead of fighting over a finite pie and scrambling for diminishing resources, a person had to adopt a creative mindset, operating outside scarcity. They expand total available resources, ensuring their gain doesn't require another's loss. To execute this, he introduced specific pillars of practice. The first is holding a clear, unwavering mental vision of exactly what is desired. The second is gratitude, which keeps the mind positively aligned with that vision instead of dwelling on current limitations. The third pillar is faith. In this context, it means possessing the absolute, unshakable belief that the envisioned outcome is already moving toward you, treating it as an inevitability. Maintaining clear vision and absolute faith transforms a panicked, competitive mind into a focused, creative force. Yet, existing purely in thought falls short. The process requires a physical catalyst to pull those ideas into the real world. To solve the problem of purely mental manifestation, where nothing actually gets built, he introduced his fourth and most critical pillar, purposeful action. He called this acting in a certain way. It meant the physical action itself was secondary. The internal intent driving the action is what actually generated wealth. Consider the execution of a repetitive daily task, like filing paperwork or laying bricks. If done with a frustrated, resentful mindset, focusing on how little it pays or who you have to beat out to get ahead, the action yields exactly what you put into it: exhaustion. Now, take that exact same physical motion and infuse it with clear vision, gratitude, and purpose. The task remains identical, but the quality of the output and the opportunities it creates elevate significantly. This creates a compounding effect. When every single minor action of the day is executed with creative intent rather than competitive panic, it builds unstoppable, tangible momentum toward the larger goal. Visualization devoid of daily purposeful action is simply daydreaming. Purposeful action serves as the necessary bridge, carrying the blueprint from the mind and constructing it in physical reality. He did not intend for this framework to be used for individual hoarding. The ultimate goal of removing competition from the equation was collective uplift. He actively embraced Christian socialism, taking his philosophy into the political arena by running twice as a Socialist Party candidate in Indiana. He held the firm belief that prosperity should never be restricted to a privileged few. By shifting from competition to creation, he argued that wealth became a universal right, accessible to anyone willing to direct their thoughts. This framework decoupled wealth generation from exploitation. He presented prosperity as a moral tool for broader societal elevation. He would not live to see the long-term impact of his philosophy. He died in 1911 at the age of 51, just a single year after publishing his masterwork, cutting his momentum short. Yet his exact framework experienced a massive resurgence in the 21st century. The Science of Getting Rich was cited by author Rhonda Byrne as the primary inspiration for the global phenomenon, The Secret. His precise combination of visualization, consistent gratitude, and absolute faith shaped modern success philosophies, laying the groundwork for positive thinking and the widespread concept of the law of attraction. Wattles provided the structural logic for what would become a century of personal development literature. His work suggests that success is the result of aligning daily, repetitive actions with a clear, creative intent.